So guys, I do apologise for the videos being a little sparse lately. My day job decided to give me more hours, which, you know, yay, great, I suppose, money, but sort of takes up a lot of my time as well. So I'm going to try and balance them. Plus, we also had a huge update for Star Citizen. So there's that as well. But let's jump into it. Let's kick things off with a bang, so to speak. Victoria's Secret's executive hope to include a transgender model in women's lingerie show. Well, if that's the case, is it really a women's lingerie show? Just saying it, you know, because we're all thinking it right about now, aren't we? But let's jump into the story. The Victoria's Secret brand hopes to showcase a transgender biological man in women's underwear, says Ed Rackus, the brand's chief marketing officer. You go broke if you get woke, alright? Just realise this by now. You should. Anyway. Racker's statement came after progressive and transgender activists railed on social media to complain he was excluding men who lived as a woman from the brand's ziggy ideology of women's sexual power. Racker sparked the dispute when he told Vogue that the company uses different fashion shows and different brands to target different groups of women. Quote, I think we dress the way we market. The shift is constant basis. If you're asking if we've, quote, looked at putting a plus size model in the show, we have. We've invented the plus size model show in what was our sister division, Lainey Burnett. Funny, no one's heard of that one. But anyway, moving along. Lainey Burnett still sells plus-size lingerie, but it sells a specific range. Just like every specialty retailer in the world sells a range of clothing as we do. We market to who we sell to, and we don't market to the whole world. Okay, there's a problem with your statement. They're asking about, from my understanding, the show. You're talking about what you sell your lingerie to. For example, he says that Lainey Burnett still sells plus-size lingerie, but sells a specific range. He's talking about the product, not the fashion show. So why don't you put plus-size models in your fashion show? Because no one will want to watch it. But moving along. But the company is under constant social media pressure to weaken the hugely valuable brand by sharing its feminine glamour with the non-targeted groups, he said. The hate that is on social media is extraordinarily toxic. Well, at least he's realised that. Where does it end, he said, adding, quote, good point. Where does it end? It doesn't. That's the point. You don't give into it because it doesn't end. So it's like, why don't you do a size 50? Why don't you do a size 60? Why don't you do a size 24? It's like, why doesn't your show do this? Shouldn't you have a transsexual in the show? No, I think we should. Well, why not? Because the show's a fantasy. It's a 24-minute entertainment special. That is what it is. The only one of its kind in the world, and any other fashion brand in the world would take it in a minute, including the competitors that are carpeting the US. And they carpet at us because we're the leader. I have to agree with what he's saying there. The fact is that Victoria's Secret is one of the leading brands in the world. I don't think it's the leading brand, but it's one of the leading brands. And at the end of the day, yeah, the thing is that people would overtake them if they started doing this Victoria fashion show for plus size models. And all it would take for Dreamgirl, for example, who's an Australian lingerie company, would go through and then start doing normal models. People would tune into Dreamgirl instead of Victoria's Secret, and all of a sudden Victoria's Secret would lose its market share. So he's right. He just sugarcoated it. Progressives and men who want to be glamorous women complain bitterly about their being excluded from the brand. In response, Rezi rapidly backtracked and issued a press statement saying he hoped a transgender model would be used in the show, but he carefully did not promise to hire a trans model, saying, quote, my remarks regarding the inclusive of transgender model in the Victoria's Secret fashion show came across as insensitive. Oh, they really got to him, haven't they? I apologise. To be clear, we absolutely would cast a transgender model for the show. We've had transgender model come to the castings, and like many others, they didn't make it. But it was never about gender. I admire the respect to their journey and embrace who they are. Oof, they're not going to like that, but moving along. The tweet managed, however, excluded the hope comment from the email statement sent to modernfashionnews.com. So in that he wrote, honestly, I really hope that a transgender model will make it to the show soon. And it's missing from there. Okay. So far, many business groups have made cost-free political alliances with transgender advocates, usually via the company's long-standing support of gay advocacy groups. But some companies, notably Target, have suffered badly when their customers resist the company's imposition of pro-transgender ideology and their preferences. Ron Paul, a gay activist, has also been slammed for excluding transgender people from his television mockery of heterosexual Americans. In the Victoria's Secret dispute, Roselle, won't be pronouncing, created a backlash by explaining the brand's business case for avoiding the transgender advocacy. The progressives complained aimed at Roselle and the brand were personal, aggrieved, and did not include any business arguments for the change of the brand's business image. Imagine my shock. Mike.com suggested Roselle is like President Donald Trump. Here we go. Welcome to the internet, mate. You're going to be branded a Nazi before you know it. Doubling down on the hateful speech, Roselle uses justification to show being fantasy to exclude the lack of casting transgender models, whom he calls transsexuals, a term that is often, but not always, considered pejoratively. I'm getting that word wrong, but anyway. Shouldn't you have transsexuals in your show? No, I think we should, he said. Well, why not? Because the show is a fantasy. It's a 24-minute entertainment special. That's what it is. And he's right. It is a fantasy. I'm sorry, if you think you are going to bang every Victoria's Secret model and that is all you're going to sleep with, you have got to be Brad Pitt or have a lot of money. So, yeah, it's a fantasy. Real women are not like that. Not all of them, anyway. And that's why I like watching Victoria's Secret's fashion shows. Anyway, this is the powerful white man caught on the record asserting a disregard for the truth and unflappable arrogance towards the livelihood of other human beings. Sound familiar? In reality, Trump is using his authority to clarify the sex of people involved in sex discrimination. Legal fights will be based on their male or female body, not their claimed gender identity, which I have to agree with. You know what I'm doing? I'm protecting everybody, Trump said in October 22nd. We didn't really cover that, to be honest. We should have. We have a lot of different concepts right now. We have a lot of different things happening with respect to transgender right now. Jezebel covered Roselle's statement by emphasizing the personal. The 70-year-old Roselle, who's part of the casting team that chooses the models for each show, gave some bizarrely out-of-touch answers in an interview, lambasting critics as being haters who want too much diversity in the show and describing trans models as transsexuals. He comes across as complete joke and an absolute arsehole, and is clearly the reason the company is stuck in 2005. I wouldn't mind owning Victoria's Secret right about now, but moving along. Men who live as this woman use Twitter to make their voices heard. Because, yeah, they have a point. Anyway. This is for all my trans friends and cisgendered women friends that are average plus size rather than support the bigoted Victoria's Secret. 8 transgender friendly lingerie brands to support instead of Victoria's Secret. Teen Vogue. So I'll have a lot to say about this, but we'll finish this up first because we're pretty much almost there. Oof. It goes on for a while, people. We won't go through them all, but yeah, we'll just hit on the first few ones. Monroe said that this is complete rooted in transphobia and feels the narrative that trans women are not women. That's because, well, they're not, are they? You know, just saying. What is a woman? If someone can identify as something and become that, okay, I identify as an attack helicopter. It doesn't mean I'm an attack helicopter. Where does this end? What if someone goes through and identifies as a doctor? Are you going to start allowing them to operate on people because they feel that they're a doctor? Or what if someone feels that they're an aircraft pilot for a commercial airline? Do we start letting them fly passenger planes? Like, look, I don't have a problem with trans people. I really don't, you know. Blair White from the YouTube sphere. Good on her, you know, knock yourself out. And if you want me to call you you, as long as you treat me with respect, sure, I'll go the effort. I'll call you you, alright? But at the end of the day, let's face it, it still has a dick. Does it not? Right. Then to me, that is male. If you have a dick, you have a prostate, if you have X, Y, whatever it is, chromosomes, that's male. If you have a vagina, if you have female anatomy, you know, then, and you have the XX chromosomes, then at the end of the day, that's female. There's, like, you know, like, where does this I identify as finish? Okay, well, there was a story a couple of weeks ago. Someone identified as a 6-year-old. Is he really a 6-year-old? No, of course not. So, sorry, but no, I'm going to say, to me, no different. But anyway. And then obviously all the progressive magazines and everything just decided to, you know, go through and jump on them. However, critics of the transgender ideology scoffed at the progressives' demand that Victoria's Secret include transgender men in the lineup of models. So, Mindy Robson said, listen to how angry these feminists are that Victoria's Secret models are hot, skinny, and women. Has a point. And probably got banned from Twitter for writing that. So, the transgender ideology is deeply unpopular, especially among women and parents. In 2017, Obama told PNR that his promotion of the transgender ideology made it easier for Donald Trump to win the presidency. No, that did not, no. Multiple polls show that most Americans wish to help and comfort people who think they're a member of the opposite sex, even as they also reject the transgender ideology claim that people's legal sex is determined by their feelings of gender identity and not bigotry. Okay, there's a major difference there. People want to make and help people feel comfortable. Sure, yeah, be our guest. But at the end of the day, there's a difference between that and throwing the laws of what's male or female out the window because a certain minority, which is roughly around 2-3%, whatever it is, feels uncomfortable. Yeah, okay, I'm an attack helicopter. My pronouns are whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. You know, where does it end? It doesn't. The transgender movement is diverse and so different fractions have different goals and priorities, including sexual libertarians, progressives, feminists who wish to blur distinctions between two sexes, and people who glamorize the distinction between the two sexes. This includes high-profit children. What? People who are trying to live as a member of the opposite sex, and people living to demonstrate detransition back to their sex, men who have demanded sex from lesbians, masculine something or other, wealthy donors, politicians, political professions, and medical service providers. And it just keeps going on about the transgender, which is kind of irrelevant really about the story because it's more about this Victoria's Secret. So, at the end of the day, what's the point? What's the takeaway from all this? So, look, I'm glad Victoria's Secret sort of somewhat stood their ground. Although, yeah, I would be very surprised if they don't backlash. If the backlash against them on this is not huge. I would be very surprised if we don't see one in the future, just because of the backlash. They will go through, most likely, include one in their show in the next 2 or 3 years. just so they can go around and say, look, we've had one. Here's our token transgender person. And that's what it'll be. So look, at the end of the day, yeah, I like the fact that they stood their ground per se, a little bit, not really. But, well, at least they've done it more than some other companies have. Nike! But what I was going to say was, but yeah, I would be very surprised if Victoria's Secret doesn't go through and cave to this. And I don't know how their stock is going to feel after this. It is going to hurt them bad. And I think they know this. I think they've realized that by going through and accepting this transgender movement and pushing that ideology, getting political, that it is going to bite them in the ass. And subsequently, they don't want a part of it. Because they've seen how toxic it is. They even wrote how toxic it is on Facebook, on Twitter. So, yeah. Because let me know your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that Victoria's Secret will go through and actually cave to the public pressure? Do you think they will stand their ground? Do you think that they will include one as their token trans and then, you know, ignore it? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts are in the comment section below. Also, what's your feeling on trans people being in Victoria's Secret? Will it be enough to make you turn off? Or will you be like, nah, still watch it? Let me know what that thought is in the comment section below. If the video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new, channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great night and enjoy.